Hello,
Hi, Molly.
how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm Alicia with ISA. How are you?
Good, nice to meet you. Oh,
Nice
there's
to meet
trouble.
Right.
you. Hi, John.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
About to kill this presentation?
Oh, you're going to kill it. I know it. I know it. We all know it. Come on.
Let me grab something real quick.
I've been watching today. It looks like everything's going really well.
Things are going great. Lots of engagement, great questions. Yeah, the sessions have been really, really good. So, yeah, we're really pleased. It's hard to believe it's already 3 o'clock Eastern time, though. So
Yeah.
we're pretty much almost to happy hour. What's up with that? Although we all need a happy hour every now and then.
I think so.
Where are you based, Molly?
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay. Not that far from DC. We're in Washington, DC. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So you'll be moderating the questions that are coming into the chat, Molly? Just wanted to confirm that, or I'm here to help you in any way that I can.
I can do that. I have questions for John as well, so I can watch those and help moderate them. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So
the live questions are like that's where I excel. I love that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna have an installer actually behind me installing.
Oh,
so I'm kind of going to go over the tips and techniques that he's going to be doing, as well as material. So I'll help a little bit if I need to, et cetera, because I want to get the bedside on rather quickly so I can show the overlays of the cut vinyl itself.
Okay, good. Molly, can you see John's video okay?
I can. Yeah, I've got that maximized on my screen, and then.
Oh, Anita's saying hi, Molly.
Oh, hello.
Addison, grab a tape measure. This is tape. I've been on and off pretty much all day today, and it's been a crazy good experience for everyone. It seems a lot of engagement, a ton of engagement, which is amazing. It's amazing.
I've been watching. You guys have done a great job, everybody.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
Thanks. Yeah. We should have some more people joining us. There were 2 of the Avery sessions appearing, so some people were going into one, but we're pushing them all into this one right now. So, oh yeah, people are bumping in. So we'll just wait maybe another minute or 2 to let people come on in. So, and I'm going to go on mute, Molly and John, but I'll be here. I can just jump in at any point in time. Just let me know. Just yell my name, Alicia, and I will be there for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And you know that if you want to add people to the session later on, you can do that through the moderation panel on the bottom part of your screen.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll see people's names pop up. You can let them in whenever you choose. Just hover over them. You'll see a green circle with a plus sign. Just click that plus sign and that'll add them into the session.
Okay.
But you can do that whenever you want. You don't have to do it when they pop in. You can do it at your increment. So it doesn't interrupt the session.
Great.
Awesome. Are we live?
Yep, you are live now. You are.
Yep.
Are we ready?
Yep, you're ready.
All right, I just chugged a bunch of coffee, so high energy.
You're always high energy.
Right, I know. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Huge shot to the RAP Institute and ISA for putting on this amazing experience. RAP experience, see what I did there? It's been a lot of fun. I've been on most of the day, off and on, kind of checking out all the sessions, and it's been really good. My name is John Duver. I'm an Avery Dennison certified trainer. I am also an owner of a wrap shop here in St. Louis. It's called Vinyl Images and Design. We've been in business going on our 19th year. I own the business with my brother and my sister, which you guys have heard me say it before. It's the smartest and the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life, but we're doing very well. We're happy. We're having a great year in 2020 despite everything that's going on. It's going really well. I share this presentation today with Molly Waters. Molly, go ahead.
My name is Molly Waters. I am a senior technical representative with Avery Dennison. I've been with the company be 24 years actually in February, so I've been around a while. And actually, John, I was just thinking about the first time I met you was at the Rap Cup in Miami, Florida in 2012. I think I actually gave you one of the awards.
That was one of my first rap competitions. Yes. Yeah. I lost to Jim Miller because Jim is better than me, and I won't ever admit that again. So.
So yeah, I'm happy to be here with John today as he demonstrates and talks to us about using cut vinyl in conjunction with our rap films. And
absolutely.
You know,
what we're gonna. Sorry.
Nope. We're gonna go from there.
I'll be quiet. What we're going to do today is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring in Addis Dunlap. He's one of my installers. One of the best guys I got. He's going to come in. He's going to begin installing this bedside. I'm going to help him for a little bit, but kind of overviewing of what we're doing. We are going to wrap this bedside with a printed 1105 Easy RS, and this is laminated with Avery Dennison 6460 polyurethane laminate. That's something that we choose to use here in St. Louis because we're a large fleet provider and we need a horizontal warranty, and we need that like if you can see how shiny it is, it's such a beautiful finish. It's optically clear, so we use it on our perf and everything. The price point's a little bit higher, but I believe that what you get in return is much worth the much worth the investment. The overlays today, we're going to have two different overlays down right there on the orange. I'm going to do a little Avery Dennison logo, which is just black vinyl, which is Avery Dennison 751 calendared films. It's a very good weeding, high quality calendared film. We're just going to go gloss black with that. And then on top of the bedside, I'm going to do a website, and that website is actually wrap film. It's Avery Dennison Diamond Line White wrap film. And we're just kind of going to get cracking on it and let you guys understand why it's best to pair wrap films with cut vinyl. I think the main reason that I love pairing cut vinyl with wrap films is if this 9 times out of 10, use my Auto Skins wrap pole here so I can show what's going on. So 9 times out of 10, this would just be one long horizontal panel front to back on this vehicle. When that happens, you have multiple body lines that you're working off of. You have multiple websites, logos, phone numbers. You have a lot of stuff that needs to be leveled off. I like to keep one of those things when I'm working now. And the one thing that I normally keep is 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a logo on the door. The reason for that is sometimes the body line on the door is a lot different from the body line on top of the bedside. And when that happens, you're kind of fighting it, and you're trying to like split the difference and find what's good and what's bad. With doing cut vinyl over the top of a printed wrap, make the door logo centered and straight, and then overlay the graphics on the bedside. And that's what we're going to do today.
So you're just minimizing the things that you have to keep in registration or in line as you do that 100%. Install. Okay.
100%. And one of the main reasons for that is, number one, I like to mitigate risk. I don't want the client to show up and say, hey, this is crooked here or there. But I leveled the door logo, but the website's crooked on the bedside. If I can overlay the bedside, chances of me getting it crooked are basically zero, to be honest with you. If I can read a tape measure, it works out extremely well. And also the efficiency factor is huge. If you're wasting, let's say you waste 5 extra minutes to get things level and straight, and you have all these things to line up and get level and straight, you're wasting that 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes that you're not getting home to have dinner with your kids. That's 5 minutes that you have to stay after, or you're not taking the lunch break, or you're not making that phone call, or you're not sending that one email that you had to get sent today, all because you didn't do an overlay. It's so much better for install. I'm an installer at heart. Go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, well, Hector Espinoza asked. Actually, he asked if there's any way to improve video quality, and I don't know that we can do that. John's coming to us from from his shop. So I don't know if we're able to improve
It's
that.
It's very clear on my screen. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I've seen some video today actually where it was poor quality, and as the presentation went on, the quality got better and better. If it
Okay.
doesn't get any better, I will do my best to move my camera closer and
Okay.
try to keep my ugly mug out of here and show you more of the details.
Okay. Jesse Birch asked about cut vinyl lifetime issues. And I mean, I can speak a little bit to that in that, you know, you would want to use a cut vinyl film that has at least the same durability as the film you're going on top of, as well as, you know, having the conformability. So if you were doing something on a contoured area, you would need a cast, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so you are using a calendar for the black film, but because that's flat or a simple curve, you should be okay.
Should have no issues whatsoever. You know, and again, you're talking about price point. As someone that looks at every single penny, and I look at every single thing I can to get my COGS, my cost of goods down as far as I possibly can to increase my profit margin as much as I can. The price difference between cast and calendar can sometimes be a big difference, and that could make the difference between a 20% profit margin or a 25% profit margin. And that's a big difference when you're talking about a $3,000 wrap.
Right.
You know,
So
if you look at what Addison's doing here, he's hitting the hardest spots first. There's a little bit of a fender flare there above the fender opening. If you look right in this area here, it's kind of concave and the fender flare pops out. He's hitting that deepest area first. But the one thing I want you guys to notice about this install, he peeled the full backing and he got full glass before he touched it with a squeegee. Meaning full glass, he basically did a tight sheet like you're making a bed. He pulled the backing, he pulled it to all four of the corners, made it full glass. There was no wrinkles. So as he starts, there's no tension to deal with. He doesn't have to squeegee tension out one way or the other. It makes it so much easier. And there's a lot of beginning installers out there that they just want to, I got to get the squeegee down. I got to get the squeegee down. I got to start squeegeeing stuff. The prep that you take before you actually do your first squeegee stroke is so very important. And getting full glass and pulling to the corners and making it as smooth as humanly possible is the way to go about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, he looks like he's going pretty fast there. That's doing good.
Yes, Addison's an amazing installer. Addison is actually from Kentucky. He took one of my Avery Dennison classes, and somehow, some way, he wanted to move here and work. So I said, you know what, man, I appreciate you so much. Yes, let's make this happen. What was that, 2 years ago? 2 years. 2 years ago. So take an Avery Dennison class and get a good job.
There you go. Well, hey, John, so you're using this right now. So you've got the Avery logo is going to go on that bottom area. You've got the website. So you have black film, you have the diamond. So obviously you're using different colored films. You know, what other films are you using for overlays on jobs? Maybe like a reflective, is that pretty common?
Absolutely. I think a lot of one of the things that people are missing out on nowadays, and again, back to profit margins, back to making money, back to an upsell. If you have a project such as this, okay, the most vibrant color on this are the orange flowers. I forgot what those flowers are called. My mom's going to be upset with me because she loves these flowers and I forgot what they're called. I forgot. But anyway, they're beautiful colors. And if you were to overlay that with some sort of a reflective printed, where it not only looks good at night, during the day, but it also looks good at night, your money. And that goes for advertising as well. That goes for the commercial side. So if you have a vehicle that is a wrap and it needs the logo, for instance, is the only thing that's going to be overlaid, and you put that overlay in reflective, not only is it advertising during the day, but you're advertising all night as well. And then it's just a matter of finding the right spot to park it.
Yeah, yeah. So
we use all kinds of overlay, cut vinyl, wrap films, etc. Everything, all of it.
That's where I was going next, was the wrap films. You know, I see a lot of you guys will take like a solid color wrap that's matte and maybe put gloss overlays on, or vice versa.
I love the look of that. I just think it is like it's subtly amazing where you take a mat. I just did a bunch of wall graphics over at a very good friend of mine, the Frisella brothers. They have a company called First Form here in St. Louis. I'm lucky enough, I've known them for a long time, and we did a bunch of work at their current headquarters. And we did a matte wall wrap with satin overlaid logos, and they liked it so much we ended up having to do a printed teal to match their First Form teal and overlay logos on that. And then we did a big basketball wall. It makes such a great impact. And not only for like an advertising purpose, but if you want to be, my whole goal with vehicle wraps, and it always has been, is that when you see a wrap, you don't see all the detail the first time you look at it. You see the wrap, and maybe you'll see it at a car show or 2 weeks later, and you see something else, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was there. That's the goal. And I think that can be very easily accomplished when it comes to matte, satin, and gloss finishes. Even a gloss finish, a gloss black with a gloss black that's laminated with 60/40 sparkle laminate. So it's all gloss, but one of them's metal flake and one of them's not. Those contrasting colors are the way to go. I think that is such a great point, Molly.
Thank you. Miguel has a interesting question about evaluating durability versus warranty in customer costs. And this was kind of a unique question because he's in Mexico. And he says, using polymeric vinyls in Mexico, many clients don't pay for vinyl cast and even less if it has to be laminated. So, I think
he's got to play to his market. He's got to play to his
Yeah.
market. If that's what your market is allowing, then you have to find a workaround to make it happen. Basically what you have is you have this grand idea of what can be just an amazing end product, and your client says, well, I'm not paying for that, or I'm not going to pay that. I'm not going to pay that much for that. Then you have to find a workaround to fix it. Either you're going to find a different material or a different color. Maybe it's the same lower quality. Not the calendar film's lower quality, but when you're comparing cast to calendar, calendar film is a little bit lower quality.
Yeah.
You got to find something that's equal quality as the base layer, but maybe it's just a simple different color. I'm sure they make calendared matte and calendared satin and calendared gloss, and that's in the same colors. So, you always got to find a workaround. If there's a will, there's a way. So it's a matter of just finding that workaround.
And I also think you have to set expectations, though, because when you go from a cast film to a calendared, you're going to be limited on your conformability. So maybe it's a partial wrap and not a full wrap to kind of get away from those heavy contours or something on the vehicle.
Absolutely, I agree. I think setting the client expectation is one of the most important things that you can do as a salesman, as a salesperson, as someone that is going to be walking in, or you have a walk-in client that comes in and they have a very clear idea of what they want most of the time. Now, sometimes they don't. We're not talking about that 1% or 2% client.
Mm-hmm.
What we are talking about is a client that comes in that has a very clear expectation of what they want, or they have a clear idea of what they want. You, as a salesperson, as a business owner, need to set a clear expectation in order to set the job up for success. As you are the gatekeeper when it comes to expectations, and if you don't do a good job of setting that expectation, it's going to be set up for failure from the get-go. Very good. I'm going to jump and install. I'm still going to talk, but I'm going to go ahead and install. I don't want to run out at any time, and I want to get this bedside on.
Okay, have at it. So why don't you kind of tell us what you're doing as you go there? I see you using the palm of your hand instead of a squeegee there, John.
Yeah. So can you hear me okay while I'm talking here?
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a concave here, and you always want to hit the deepest part of the concave first, and that's what I did. I was using a palm technique. This wrap glove Ghost is money. Avery Dennison makes an awesome application glove. They actually discontinued them for a while, but they're back. I love them. You get them, and when you take the Avery Dennison class, you actually get one in your kit. But the palm technique, what that does is you hit the deepest point here. You hit the deepest point here, and the stretch comes from this body line to here and from this body line to here. So you're not just working it up, and getting glue lines all around here. You're hitting the deepest part first with your palm, and you get the equal amount of stretch.
So But I was gonna say, how long have you been using Avery films, John? Avery Dennison films?
Oh my gosh, since 1005. How long has that been?
Okay, it's been a long time.
Yeah, a very long time. I mean, like I said, we've been in business 18, going on 19 full years. We're going to start our 19th year in April, and we started, very early on. We had no idea what we
Okay.
were doing. We were. Go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to get on.
I was gonna say, what drove you to using those products? What do you like about now the 1105?
There's so many things. Number one, I'm an installer at heart. Like when I sit and I daydream about installing. Like I love installing. Like I'm a business owner and I have a lot of moving and shaking going on and a lot of management and a lot of stuff that I do during the day as well as install. But like I love installing. Like I love to install. That is my passion. It's what I love to do. So I want something that's easy to install. I want something that's going to create a superior product. I want something that's going to hold up over time. I want something that's going to have a good gloss, have the corners won't peel back. And one thing I found with Avery is most important for me as someone that's been in business a while and that's a veteran in this game is having good customer service, having good reps, having good technical people, having good, like Avery Dennison as a company is an amazing organization. And I add immense value to the product because of that as well.
Great. Well, somebody just came with a good question. Applying overlays on top of matte film. Is there issues with surface tension or anything? I think he's asking about adhesion issues.
Yes, there is. Absolutely. So if you're looking at matte, satin, and gloss, we're going to talk about surface energy. And surface energy in the vinyl world is the ability of adhesive to stick to a surface. Gloss films, gloss paints, it has extremely high surface energy. So the vinyl wants to stick to it extremely well. And it like if you will follow my finger, it even has high like peaks and valleys. It's not perfectly smooth. It's just not. Those peaks and valleys are very low and they're just very low. Satin vinyl, the peaks and valleys are a little bit steeper. It's a little bit steeper, so it's got less surface energy. And matte is very steep, high peaks, high valleys. And the reason, or high peaks and low valleys. And the reason I explain that to you is if this is your vinyl, this is the adhesive layer of your vinyl, and you have a gloss and you see the valleys kind of go down, that adhesive will work its way into the bottom of the valleys on gloss. On satin, it may not reach the bottom of that valley, and on matte, it absolutely will not. So the adhesive maybe has a 50% chance of 100% adhesion. It just doesn't happen. It's just surface energy. How do you negate that? As much as possible. Clean it. Clean matte materials as best as you possibly can. You can even go through and tape off the area. Like if you have an overlay, let's talk about color change, for example. If you have like a front bumper that has to be inlaid with a matte, it's a matte color change, and you have a front bumper that has to be inlaid, and you have to do matte inlays, but you have an overlay that goes on top of that matte film. Go through and heat treat that edge where that overlap's going to be. Maybe flatten that mat out just a little bit so it's a little bit glossier, a little bit satin, and that adhesive will stick a heck of a lot better. But always, always, always clean with I recommend 70% isopropyl alcohol wherever you're going to put an overlay.
And I would fully agree with that. I've done tests on my own where I've tried applying the film without any cleaning and then wiping it with isopropyl, and it's a night and day difference for adhesion. So
absolutely. So you want to stop doing it? So what I just asked Addison to do, he was concentrating very heavily on the bottom front, doing a great job. I want him to finish the top line because again, we have the overlays that we're gonna talk about, and the overlay on this one happens to be a website for this amazing wrap company. You'll see who it is. It's absolutely incredible. But I want to work with that.
So you mentioned he came from one of our rap classes, or that you had taught. Can you tell us a little bit about the rap classes? And I know you're one of our instructors. You have been for the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy to start my 5th year of instruction for Avery Dennison. You know, I love teaching. I love teaching. There's something about standing in front of the class and sharing my knowledge. You have to understand, I've been doing this 20 years, and I've made every mistake you could possibly make as an installer and in the business world as well. If you can think of it, I probably made the mistake. I wasn't that smart when I was first starting out. Okay, but I learned fast, and I try not to make the same mistake twice. But anyway, the Avery Dennison classes is something that it was a passion of mine. You know, Justin Pate got a hold of me and said, hey, you know, you're a great candidate for this program, and we would like to bring you on as a trainer. And I was just like, boom, yes, please, that would be amazing. And you know, the classes are great. There's digital classes, which is basically print films, walls and floors and window graphics, etched glass, things like that, wet installs and dry installs. We talk about a lot of that. The classes are structured very, very well. So the first part of that first half of the first day is basically just technical information. We want you to know how the vinyls are manufactured. We want you to know the difference between cast and calendared and what materials need to be this, that, and the other. We want to educate you on the actual technical information of the materials. And then after lunch on day one, we get right down to business. We start installing, and we stay installing for a day and a half. And by the end of the first day, we're about maybe a third of the way done with a full wrap. And then by the end of the second day, we have at least one full wrap done inside the class. You get experience if you take the digital or the color change or the advanced class. You get experience on bumpers, on mirrors, on inlays, on overlays, on sneaky relief cuts, little tips and tricks that I live by and I love when it comes to installation, little tricks that have taken me 10, 15 years to realize. We just share it all. We want everyone to gain as much as humanly possible from these classes. And the cost of the class, I think, is about $800, but you get a full roll of film, you get a full toolkit. You basically break even when it comes to the finances of what costs this much, what I get this much. It's absolutely it's a wash. It's 100% wash, in my opinion. I mean, maybe you're traveling a very long distance, and I'm not an economist, so you could have a different situation than what I'm describing, but it's a great deal, ton of knowledge. You know, I work under Justin Pate and Chad Parrish. It doesn't matter who you train with. We all have the same sort of mentality and the same curriculum, but we all teach it just a little bit different. So if you have taken an Avery class with me, for example, get it with Justin. If you have taken it with Chad, get it with me. There's so much to be learned. You could take the same class, just different trainers are going to teach you. They're going to, you know, there's multiple ways to skin a cat, is how the old saying goes.
I've talked to individuals, installers that have been installing for 20 plus years, and they've taken classes with you guys, and they walk away feeling like they've learned something. So that says a lot about your classes.
Yeah, listen, it's a passion, you know. It's something that we really, really love to do, and I share that passion with Chad and Justin. You know, it's just we have an amazing team. We have a fourth trainer that's coming on this year. I'm going to zip my lips on that, but just so you know, we are adding the legend to our training, to our stable of trainers, and it is going to be, he's an amazing addition to our team.
That's great. We got two things. So somebody asked when the classes are going to be back up and running, and we have the 2021 schedule posted on our website now. So they should, you know, the intention is to start everything back up after the first of the year. So check out our website for that. And then somebody else, I'm going to read this question here.
We're gearing up for 100% 2021. Like, let's go. But, you know, it's all fluid, everybody. You know, this is crazy times, and we are going to err on the side of caution 100%. We would never want to endanger anyone. We would never want anyone to get hurt. And we're just going to err on the side of caution when it comes to these classes. But we are gearing up for 100% classes this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're working on taking safety precautions and all of that into account. And so looking forward to hitting the ground running there. So it looks like he's getting close there to put those overlays on.
Absolutely.
While you're getting ready to do that, so somebody asked, do your quotes take mistakes into account and having to replace panels? Or
no.
No. Okay.
No. I want perfection. I expect perfection. I train my guys to be as perfect as possible. I never put an overage on there. I just don't. We don't have a lot of what we call our work orders for redo. We don't have a lot of those. I have in the past, but you're almost robbing the client if you do that. If you think, oh, I'm going to mess up 10% of this, I'm going to up at 10%, and if I don't mess it up, I'm more profitable. If I do mess it up, I'm covered. Like, always plan for success, never for failure.
I think in the early times it does, you do that just in case you mess up, but as you build confidence, you realize you don't need to do it to build in extra.
I'm gonna go ahead and get this
So-
measurement straight. So what's happening now is we're going to put a website on top of the bedside, and the reason that we're doing this as an overlay, again, for you guys that are just now tuning in, or you're tuning in halfway through, a lot of the times you'll have a printed website or a printed phone number. The website's on the bedside. You got a door logo to hook up, and then you have a phone number on the front fender. Well, if you have to level all of those three factors on three different body lines, on three different sections of the vehicle, like, it makes it increasingly difficult to make it perfect. And you know, what you think is a level line may not be what the client had in mind as a level line. So it's very important to do these overlays. And what Addison's doing right now is he's taking two pieces of tape. One piece of tape is on one end there, and one piece is right over here. Okay, and what he's the actual vinyl itself is cut very, very smooth, close to the graphic. And what he just did there was called a center hinge. And we go over all this cut vinyl hinges, top hinge, bottom hinge, center hinge, how to install cut vinyl with the proper squeegee strokes, etc., in our Avery Dennison classes. Addison, stop right there. If you look at what he just did, he tore the tape on the edge of the masked vinyl. And the reason he did that some of the tape stays on the side. Autoskin's bumper pull, just dropping it all over the place. Some of it stays on the side of the vehicle, and the other piece stays on the piece of the material. And the reason you do that is because, go ahead and peel the backing. As you peel the mask from the paper and you tear the backing paper off, you use those pieces of tape to line it up so you know it's straight and centered. That's your marking point. Goes down through, removes his middle hinge, tears that vinyl. This is a 48-inch piece of website, and the mask is 48 inches, so there is about this much margin for error for him. And then as he goes through and he's going to squeegee it down one last time, he's going to peel the mask up and he's going to pull the mask back on top of itself at a 45-degree angle. I cannot stress how important that is. You don't want to pull out at all. You want to pull it back on top of itself and down at a 45. All the while, you're looking at all the edges. You're looking at everything that you can possibly do to make sure that nothing's going to peel up. And once you get it all peeled off like this, you go back through and you hit it with the squeegee one more time. Avery Dennison has the initial tack of Avery Dennison is not that high. It's got easy RS technology. The RS technology is repositionable and slidable technology. And that has to collapse in order for the adhesive to grab. And to ensure that mask didn't pull any of those letters up while you're pulling it off, you go back through and you hit it with a squeegee one last time.
John, do you want to explain why you showed that angle you pulled it off? You know, why are you pulling it at that 180-degree angle back on itself?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is if you pull out, you're attempting to pull the vinyl off of the surface. If you pull back on top of itself, it's not, your tension isn't straight out. There is basically no outward tension, because where the mask curls and you pull it back on top of itself, it's not pulling out, it's pulling straight back on top of itself. And then you just go through with a squeegee, and if there's any loose edges or whatever it may be, you just squeegee it right back on down. The key to overlays and the key to all cut vinyl is after you peel that mask in a 180-degree, 45-degree angle, you go back through and you hit it with your squeegee. You go back through and you just go whoop, 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 real quick, and make sure that all the edges are down. I cannot even count how many times I've seen, little edges come up here or there, and then dirt gets under it or water gets under it, and then it's a failure point. Edges are failure points. That is the first place it's going to fail. If you ever see something bottle capping, it's overstretched, but it's because the edge failed. You never see vinyl fail in the middle of a bedside. You see it fail on the edges. So if you ensure that the edges are down, even going as far as going through and hitting it with a torch or a heat gun to make sure it's not going to move, that's key.
Yep. Yeah, resqueegeeing those edges is very important. That's something we state in all of our bulletins as well. So.
Yeah. Someone asked about torch head.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this? TS 8000? Yeah, it's a TS 8000. There's a 4000 and an 8000. The 4000, yeah, I refer to it as like the needle of death. It's like this tiny little thing of heat, you know, and like you can burn through stuff really, really easily. But the 8000 is more of a larger, it's a larger ambient heat per se.
So kind of on the topic of torches, you know, we typically recommend heat guns in our classes. You know, why would you use a torch versus a heat gun?
Any of the, you know what, Addison, why don't you go ahead and throw that Avery Dennison logo on the door? I'll switch this side. I prefer a torch, personally. I believe they're faster. I prefer a torch with MAP gas, actually, which burns a little bit hotter than propane. But I always only use a torch on gloss materials. I never use a torch on satin. I never use a torch on matte. And I never use a torch to post heat, ever. And there's numerous, let me just go down the list here. If you use a torch, torches they get really hot really fast, and they burn they'll gloss over a piece of matte, or they'll gloss some satin. Gloss obviously is gloss, so you can get away with a little bit there. But if you use a torch on matte, it's going to gloss over. You're literally just destined for failure. It's going to happen. You may do 5 hoods in a row, and then you don't gloss it, but then on the 6th hood, it's going to be at 4:58, and the client's showing up at 5 o'clock, and you're going to be using a torch and post heating with a torch, and you're going to gloss something over. Do not use torches with matte or satin, and don't use torches to post heat. Another reason about that is vinyl is multi-layered. Okay, there's a lot of layers there. There's 2, 3, 4 layers depending on how far you want to dig down in there. If you use a torch, the top layer gets extremely hot, and the heat doesn't permeate through all the layers as well as it should. If you use a heat gun, it heats a little bit slower, and it takes a little bit longer, but the heat goes all the way through the material. And when you're post heating, you must post heat to 180 to 200 degrees. You must. It's science. That's the temperature that PVC molecules break down when it comes to post heating. So it is imperative that you post heat correctly. And you want that 180 to 200 degrees to be all the way through the film, not just on the top layer. You want it to permeate all the way through. So definitely use a heat gun when you're post heating, and also use an IR thermometer, because I've been doing this 20 years, and there's no way that I can tell you with a heat gun or a torch and say, that's 180 degrees. Like, you just don't know. You just simply don't know. So you must use an IR thermometer. If you're not using an IR thermometer, you are not post heating correctly. End of story. No argument for it.
Thank you. You've done my job for me for the day, John. That's a big one that we get a lot is the lack of post heat in questions and issues that we encounter. So
one thing about post heating we can add to that, post heating, you must wait 45 minutes in order to post heat too. Don't just stick something and go back through and post heat right away. The material itself, the adhesive, needs to work its way into all those little nooks and crannies that I was talking about earlier, about the matte, the satin, and the gloss surfaces, the high peaks and low valleys, and the foothills leading up to for surface energy. It takes a little bit of time for that material, or for the adhesive, to work into those deepest valleys. And 45 minutes is a very good time. You should, I think you know better. I think you're supposed to have 70% adhesion at 45 minutes. I think Cindy told me that once. I might be quoting it wrong, but
that's probably pretty close. It builds up pretty quick. Usually, 24 hours, you're pretty much at where it's going to build a little bit more after 24 hours, but usually you kind of hit that really good point. So 45 minutes is a good number.
Absolutely. But one of the things that I kind of want to impress on everyone right now, I wrapped a transit last week. I think it was Thursday, and I did not post. I stretch them in, and unfortunately I didn't post heat. I got sidetracked. I didn't post heat, and I walked in the next morning, and it had tiny little air popping up because I didn't post heat. So I had to go back through and work on that extra hard in order to get all those out. If I would have post heated, I wouldn't have had that issue because it was not overstretched. It simply was not overstretched. It was not post heated correctly. There's a very big difference between overstretching and post heating and stretching correctly and not post heating. It is imperative that you post heat correctly.
Yeah. Well, John, we've hit our time. Is there anything else you want to show? I see you've got both the Avery Dennison logo and that infamous wrap company's website up there.
I said, hey, I want to put a website on the side of this bed. Like, okay, I guess you can.
Yeah.
I got the perfect one. I got the perfect one. But no, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. It is Veterans Day here in the States, so thank you to our veterans. We appreciate everything you guys have done. Avery Dennison is an amazing product. 1105 is incredible. If you've not used 1105, I highly recommend that you get with your sales rep, get with your regional rep, and figure out exactly how you can get some in your hands. I will tell you, anyone this, if you are in St. Louis and you do not come to my wrap shop, my door is always open. I enjoy people coming in. Please, please, please come by. Learn something, have lunch, have a beer, whatever it may be. We'll hang out. I really would love it if you would come by.
And Avery Dennison has a booth in the expo during the wrap experience, both today and tomorrow. So please definitely pop over to the expo and visit Avery Dennison's booth. They'll be there to answer all of your questions or anything John and Molly covered today. If you have any other questions, they can be there for you. This is a great session, Molly and John. Thank you so much. This was absolutely one of the best.
John. Thanks a lot.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you.
Yes, thanks. And the closing session will start at 4 o'clock on the stage. So go to Avery from now until then, and then we'll see you all on the stage at 4 o'clock.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank
so
you
much.
guys so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.